No. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right, I'll start over here. Okay, so U.S. markets obviously closed on their highs of the day yesterday's session. In sort of a drift fashion over the past few weeks, or past 5 sessions, we haven't had any big significant up days. We've really just kind of gradually built into this rally, and I think that's one, making it a little bit more sustainable, and two, possibly creating a little bit more of a short squeeze. So I think this little upward bleed is really starting to put the shorts under pressure, and obviously getting them really impatient. So something to keep an eye on. Chinese trade data out overnight, beat expectations, but more than 50% percentage points discrepancy in favor of China's trade versus that of Taiwan. It's pointing to a little bit of an anomaly there in mainland data. So I think it's like we talked before. I don't know how reliable this stuff is. We don't really know. We'll go over some of the more, other data there in a little bit. You can see there overnight, Asian markets actually they started out mostly in the green, pretty much across the board. We had the Australian market and the Japanese market, which were up in the earlier in the session, which faded to red. And Australia actually did that on some positive data. So maybe a little bit interesting that we've seen some sort of a down move today at the end of the session. We had CPI and PPI numbers out of China. The CPI numbers were were hotter than expected, and the PPI numbers were softer than expected. So a bit of a mixed picture there, but Aussie and Kiwi are strengthening on the back of some of the employment figures out of the Australia. All right, we have a trading update out of Barlow's. You can see there from the expectations, quite significant beat, I believe. And we look for some upward momentum there. I was actually going to show that chart today anyway. We'll look at it again in a second. And then Mutual also had an interim management statement out today. I'm not 100% sure what all the expected numbers were. The only number that I saw that was that life insurance sales were expected at £272 million. It came in at £269 million. And funds under management were up 7%. I think the one interesting thing is that life insurance sales number is probably about in line when you look at it in rand terms, but I think when you bring it back into pounds, it's probably weaker strictly because of currency adjustments, so, or because the rand's been weaker over the period. So maybe something to take note of. Like we said about Chinese numbers, CPI numbers were a bit hot. The PPI numbers were deflationary. We also had employment change out of Australia, big beat there. That's why we saw this big jump overnight in the Australian dollar. And then later today, we've got a lot of numbers out of the UK, industrial production, manufacturing production, BOE interest rates later at 1 o'clock. Then we've got local manufacturing production. And then later in the States, we've got initial jobless claims and wholesale inventories. So obviously, jobless claims are going to be the big number for us to watch today, so keep an eye out for that one. All right, let's jump into the maps. All right, first thing I want to show here is Naspers. Naspers trading right up to, we closed literally 6 cents below the previous closing high. We closed at 39.76. I think the previous closing high was at 639.81. Sorry, let me just get my charts right again. Right, so you can see there. What I'm going to show you this one. I'll also show you Barlow's, and then I'm just going to go through how this pattern is just repeating itself everywhere in the market. It's a classic bull market pattern. But when these things break out from these previous highs, we talk about the trough down here to break out, move, and usually we say get that same sort of distance and move to the upside. I mean, that would leave us $80 if we get to the upside of this. So it'd be a hell of a breakout for Naspers. Well, we could end up double topping here, who knows? But bottom line is very consistent pattern we've been seeing a lot lately. Barlow's, after we just talked about the great trading statement, pattern looks exactly the same, except for we have broken out to the upside. I think when we'll watch this one today, we expect it to trade well, obviously. The trough down here is around 91. It'd leave us $8 on a breakout, take us to about 107 on Barlow, so I wouldn't be surprised to see us get there rather quickly. The same pattern is just everywhere in the market at the moment. You can see here, same pattern in breweries. We break out of breweries there. You see how we take it. We ripped hard to the upside. We were pointing that one out. Rimgrow, same pattern. This one happened a couple days ago, same exact pattern. We can look at All Mutual, which also had numbers today, same pattern. This pattern is literally in probably half the stocks on our entire board, outside of mining stocks. So this is something that I want you want us to keep an eye on. I think most of these stocks are to be bought on pullbacks. It's like I said, really bullish patterns. This is gonna set up as all of the breakout level is gonna set up as big support on all of these stocks anytime they trade down to here. So I think like I said, these are to be bought on pullbacks. These patterns also same thing we're seeing in the States, for instance. Here's Google, the exact same pattern. So classic bull market pattern, classic pattern with markets making new highs around the globe, Australian, German, UK, US, all these markets are making new all-time highs. These stocks are making all-time highs, and they're doing it quite consistently in the same type pattern. So this is, there's a couple, there's obviously a couple laggards, a couple that are still kind of entering into these formations. The Barlows maybe just breaking out, like we pointed out. I really like that one today, obviously with a strong trading statement as well. Naspers, if we get above 640 and can hold it for 30 minutes or so, I like that one as well on the breakout. So keep your eye on all these. And the last one I'm going to show is Associated British Foods in London again, which we've shown several times. Also a similar type pattern like we talked about. Well, not quite the same pattern. This is more of a flag pattern, but it's a bull flag, which we broke out of yesterday's session. If I can just zoom in here a little bit, and you can see it a little more closely. But same sort of thing. If we start to break to new highs as well, we'll also be looking for the same type move, trough to break out, remaining on the upside, which would be about another pound to the upside. So. A lot of bullish action going on in markets outside of the mining space, and it's I think what we've just got to continue to follow until the trend changes. That's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.